ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुक्तापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So welcome everyone to Corporate Gita. We are reading 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and the verse 13th now. So before that we read that through Ashtanga Yoga one can achieve spiritual perfection. Okay. Through Ashtanga Yoga one can achieve spiritual perfection, and we went into the details of it. So the aim is that we should control the mind. That is very important. Once the mind is under control, then success is guaranteed. Even in material sense also, success is guaranteed when the mind is made up. Okay. If the mind is not made up, no, then it becomes very difficult to do any task. So people say, right, it's a game of the mind. Similarly, in spiritual life, it is more important. The mind is the important one. So through using, breathing exercise, yogasanas, and then we read what one should do in this Ashtanga Yoga. One should leave the family, go to a secluded place, a forest. Okay. And then sit on a deer skin with a soft cloth, neither high, neither too low, firmly, and practice yoga. And today we are going to read 13 and 14. Today we are going to read 13 and 14. Samam kaya shirogrivan dharayan achalam sthira sampreksha nasika gram swam dishyaschanava lokayam prashantat प्रशांतात्मा विगत ब्रेर ब्रह्मचारी वृते स्थित मनः संयामी मच्चित्तो युक्त आसीत मत्परः. So one should hold one's body, neck, head erect. So this is the way of doing Ashtanga Yoga. Body, neck, head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Can you do this? Keep yourself straight and then look at the tip of the nose. Can you do this for a minute? Okay. Did you try?
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
So yeah, so this is the way, and you have to do it for many minutes, hours, one day, many days, many months. Okay. With an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life. So yeah, this Ashtanga Yoga is that zero sex life. One should meditate upon me within the heart. So meditate upon me means the Paramatma, and make me the ultimate goal of life. So even a karma yogi can do this Ashtanga yoga. Like I said, Krishna does this in the morning. He meditates on himself, right? We read that from Krishna book, from Bhagavad. So, um, so even a karma yogi, when those who do work, right, they can also practice this. early in the morning for some for few hours or something like that. And people do this. Not a lot of people, but few people do this today also. Very few. There are some spiritual organizations who actually focus on this part, right? There are some spiritual organizations that do only this. They'll say meditate 1 hour, 2 hour. They'll do, right? So it is a part of Ashtanga Yoga. Only thing it is very difficult. We can try. There's no problem. We can try, but it may just help us, to the extent of our health, and to keep our mind in control and help us in our yoga, bhakti yoga. Hmm? But yes, 5,000 years ago, right? Life was pretty simple. There were Vedic following everywhere. The kings were not fighting like they are fighting today. The war was never fought in the cities. It was fought in a ground. Okay, and whoever won would follow the dharmic principles. It is not like he would become a dharmic and convert everyone. No, this is all Kali Yuga effect. In Kali Yuga, this thing happens. They convert. But in Vedic time, it was not like that. It was just like the one king went, another king would come, and he would follow the religious principles as it is. Nothing. If it's a very good thing, he will enhance it, but he will never degrade it. But in today's world, there's so much of disturbance going on, right? We have Bangalore Bandh today. Everything is closed and all that. People are not even let to walk also. So much disturbance is there. Now, how we can do this Ashtanga Yoga? So much disturbance. So we can do only for some time in the morning, but it will help us only for the health purposes and just to keep our mind control. That much goal we can achieve. But the ultimate goal of doing all this thing is to see the Paramatma within the heart. Okay, and then uh, there is our picture. The 400 form of Vishnu. So after seeing the 400 form of Vishnu, the soul gets attracted to the 400 form of Vishnu and offer prayers. So that is the start of the process of Bhakti Yoga, where one is attracted to Krishna and his personal form, his holy name, and all that. So the ultimate goal is that. Okay, but we cannot practice Ashtanga Yoga to its best. Not all of us. Some few may able to, but they will find it very difficult. Krishna also says it is very difficult. Arjuna will also say it is very difficult. So Krishna in the later chapters prescribes the direct method of getting attracted and fixed on his through the process of Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. That is the Bhakti Yoga process. So ultimate goal of Ashtanga Yoga is to come to Bhakti Yoga. Okay. The goal of life is to know Krishna, which is situated within the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the four-handed Vishnu form. The yoga process is practiced in order to discover and see this localized form of Vishnu and not for any other purpose. So the goal of this Ashtanga Yoga is to see Paramatma, the four-handed form of Vishnu in the heart, and not for any other purpose, not for health purpose and all that. That is all byproducts. There are some siddhis also one get. Okay, there are these Ashtanga yogis. They have some siddhis. They can do something which people call as magic or miracle, but actually these are siddhis of this yogic system. But that is not the goal. The localized Vishnu Murti is the plenary expansion of Krishna dwelling within one's heart. One who has no program to realize this Vishnu Murti is uselessly engaged in mock yoga practice and certainly wasting his time. Krishna is the ultimate goal of life. The Vishnu Murti situated in one's heart is the object of yoga practice. To realize this Vishnu Murti within the heart, one has to observe complete abstinence from sex life. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in a secluded place. So, one has to leave home. Okay, so we read something, right? I'll just go back there and I'll explain. So, there are requirements for this Ashtanga Yoga. So for a neophyte means new person. In this Ashtanga Yoga, work is said to be the means. So he will do the work, and then little he will do this Ashtanga Yoga, Pranayam, Yogasanas and all that. Now someone has joined. Okay. So one who is neophyte, who is new person in the Ashtanga Yoga, work is said to be the means. At that point, he will use the work. Okay. One who is already elevated, one who is practicing for many years, he will stop all the work. Cessation of all material activity is said to be the means. Cessation means end. He will stop all the way and he will give 100% to Ashtanga Yoga. At that point, there is complete abstinence from sex life. So basically, he leaves home completely. Therefore, some people we have heard like they go to the Himalayas and all that, they stay there, they leave home and all that. So this is what is happening with them. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in the secluded place, remaining seated as mentioned above. One cannot enjoy sex life daily at home and elsewhere and attend so-called yoga classes and become a yogi. Okay. So the attraction between man and woman is very intense. Okay, it makes people crazy. So how can they focus on spiritual life, right? So therefore, there is a control over this sex enjoyment. And in Ashtanga Yoga, it is complete zero. One has to practice controlling the mind and avoid all kinds of sense gratification, of which sex life is the chief. In the rules of the celibacy written by this great sage, so there was a sage, Yagnavalka, he said, the vow of brahmacharya is meant to help one complete abstain from sex indulgence in work, word, and mind at all times, under all circumstances, in all places. So this brahmachari ashram, right? We know, right? There is four ashrams are there: brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. So in brahmachari ashram, the man is trained to in shastras and character and a lot of other things, Vedas and practical skills also. At the same time, he is abstained from having any association with the opposite sex. Okay, so that's the rule of this brahmacharya ashram. Otherwise, mind will become disturbed. We see that in today's schools and colleges, right? If there is some attraction between man and woman, boy and girl, they'll get disturbed. Their studies will go away. They may do something stupid, right? Ultimately, the girl may get pregnant also. So, if in material life itself it can be a disturbance, what to speak of spiritual life? So, so the Vedas, they and all religion systems, they say that man and woman should come together under an institution called, what is the institution under which they should come together?
But to have to beget a Krishna conscious child.
No, even before that.
Marriage.
Marriage, yes. So you get them in marriage, and the marriage they take vows, right? The husband takes a vow that he will always protect the wife. The wife takes a vow that I will serve the husband in all situations, whether it be thin or thick. Thin and thick means whether it be good times or bad times. And then they are allowed to have child, right? So it is not for enjoyment, right? After having child, people can go away. This is what is happening in foreign countries, right? They just have child and the government is taking care, and the man and woman, they are not taking roles of parents, husband and wife and father and mother. It's like animal life, right? So it is like animal life. So what to say? So brahmacharya is taught therefore from the childhood, when one has no knowledge of sex life. Children at the age of 5 are sent to Gurukul or at the place of spiritual master, and master trains the young boys in strict discipline of becoming brahmacharis. Without such practice, one cannot make advancement in any yoga, whether it be dhyana, jnana, and bhakti yoga. So in bhakti yoga also, the control of the mind and senses is very, very important. One who, however, follows the rules and regulations of married life, having a sexual relationship only with his wife, and that also under regulation, is also called a brahmachari. So in uh, so Arjuna was also called a brahmachari. Now Arjuna was married. How come he became a brahmachari? He was very strict in following the rules and regulation of married life. That's why he is also brahmachari. Such a restrained householder, brahmachari, may be accepted in the bhakti school, but the jnana and dhyana school do not even admit householder brahmacharis. So householder brahmacharis are okay in bhakti schools, but not even in jnana and dhyana school. There it is very much strict. A household brahmachari is allowed for controlled sex life because the cult of bhakti yoga is so powerful that one can automatically loses sexual attraction being engaged in the superior service of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasa varjam rasopiyasya param drishta nivartate. Means when you get param means superior pleasure, then you can leave the inferior pleasure. So sex life is actually material pleasure, which is actually inferior. So when one gets spiritual pleasure, one can leave sex life. So in bhakti yoga, that can also happen. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification, a devotee of Lord automatically refrains because of the superior taste. Other than the devotee, no one has any information of that superior taste. So the Gyan and the Dhyan yogas, right? They are struggling to get the superior taste. But Bhakti Yoga, they automatically gets this. Vigata Bihi. One cannot become fearless unless one is fully in Krishna consciousness. A conditioned soul is fearful due to his perverted memory, his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. The Bhagavatam says, Bhayam, Dvitiyabhinivesha Satha, Swat Asat, Apateshya, Viprayo, Smritihi. 11 to 37. Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna conscious, and since the ultimate goal of yoga principle is to see the Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis. The principle of yoga systems mentioned herein are different from those of the popular yoga, so-called yoga societies. Okay. So now this point, right? Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. So we know the story of Prahlad Maharaj. He was fearless. 5-year-old child, if you lift hand also, they may start crying. But Prahlad Maharaj was thrown in amid the snakes, the lions, the fire from top of the mountain. But he was completely fearless. Do you know why? Because he was always remembering Krishna. Indeed, he saw Krishna everywhere. That's why he said, even in this pillar, there is Krishna. That's why he said like that. Okay, next verse. Any questions? Any comments?
No, Prabhu.
What? No?
No, Prabhu.
Okay. Yunjan eva sadatmanam yogi niyata manasaha shantim nirvana paramam mat samstham adigacchati. Thus practicing constant control of the body, mind and activities, the mystic transcendentalist in his mind regulated attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. So ultimate goal, once they achieve, then they come back to God. The ultimate goal in practicing yoga is now clearly explained. Yoga practice is not meant for attaining any kind of material facility, siddhis or bodily strength. It is to enable cessation of material existence. It is for liberation basically, for mukti. One who seeks an improvement in health or aspires for material perfection is no yogi according to Bhagavad Gita. Nor does cessation of material existence entails one's entering into the void, which is only a myth. There is no void anywhere within the creation of the Lord. So there are some spiritualists who say that once you get liberated, you merge into something called as void, which is nothing. You become zero. Shunyavad. This is the Buddhist philosophy actually, Shunyavad. But that is not supported by Bhagavad Gita or the Vedas. Okay. It is what is explained is there is a Brahma Jyoti, which is fully spiritual. There one can merge into. So it is not voidism. It is Brahma Jyoti that the Vedas say. Rather, the cessation of material existence enables one to enter into the spiritual sky, the abode of the Lord. The abode of the Lord, then beyond Brahma Jyoti is the actual abode of the Lord. That is Golok Vrindavan, the Vaikuntha planets. The abode of the Lord is also clearly described in Bhagavad Gita as that place where there is no need of sun, moon, or electricity. All the planets in the spiritual kingdom are self-illuminated like the sun. So there is no need of sun in the spiritual kingdom. Everything is self-illuminated. Interesting, right? The kingdom of God is everywhere, but the spiritual sky and the planets thereof are called Paramdhama or superior abodes. A consummate yogi who is perfect in understanding Lord Krishna is clearly stated herein by the Lord as Mat Chitta Mat Para Mat Sthan, can attain real peace and ultimately reach the supreme abode Krishna Lok, known as Golok Vrindavan. In the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated that Goloka Eva Nivasati Akhilatma. So here, Vaikuntha planets are talked about. The Lord, although residing always in his abode called Goloka, is all pervading Brahman, and the Loka is Paramatma, as well as by the dint of his superior spiritual energies. No one can reach the spiritual sky or enter into the Lord's eternal abode without the proper understanding of Krishna and his plenary expansions Vishnu. So if you want to enter into somebody's house, you should know the person, right? Yes or no? Let's say you enter your building and your child says,
Correct.
let's go in this house. What will you say to your child?
We cannot enter because we do not know them.
We do not know, right? We do not know that person.
Yeah.
But let's say if it's your friend's house, then you will allow that child to go. Okay, let's go, let's meet our friend, right? So similarly, unless we know about Krishna, hmm, without properly understanding of Krishna and his plenary expansion of Vishnu, that is Rama, Narsimha, Vamana, like that, we cannot enter. Okay, so there are so many spiritual organizations, right? They are not talking about Krishna and his plenary expansions. So for them, this Vaikuntha planets becomes a mystery. They may say Vaikuntha is the Brahman or something, but it's not like that. There are planets within the Vaikuntha and within the Brahman, self-illuminated planets. There is where the Krishna and his plenary expansions are present. An eternal relationship is going on between the soul and soul and Krishna. When we reach the 15th chapter, right, Krishna is going to explain something. Let me just show you. Okay. Do you see two trees or do you see one tree in this picture?
Two trees.
Are there really two trees or what is it?
Entry and its
One is the
reflection in the
image.
water.
Yeah, it's
One
a
is the
reflection.
reflection.
Yeah, it's a reflection. So Krishna says this material world is a reflection of the real world. Okay, where roots are growing upwards and the tree is going downwards. We have never heard a tree growing downwards, right? It will always grow upward. But he says this material world is like that, where the roots are going down and roots are going up and branches are going down. And the living entity is jumping from one branch to another. Okay. But when he reaches the root by practicing yoga, then he can go and find into the real tree. So this material world is a reflection of the real tree. It's a reflection of the real tree. So what is happening in the real tree, we can see that in the reflection, right? If there are fruits and flowers on the tree, we can see that the same in the reflection. Yes. But can we
Yes.
experience it? If we jump in the water, can we experience that fruit? Can we experience that leaf? Can we experience that flower? No, right? Because it is not there.
No.
So what happens is, in this material world, we also have lot of relationships, a lot of experiences we have. Sports we have, music we have, attraction between man and woman is there, marriage is there, children are there. Now all this is actually a reflection of the spiritual world, where Krishna is there, and Krishna is acting like a baby to Yashoda. He's playing with his friends. Krishna is married to Lakshmi. All this is happening. So it's a reflection of that world into this. But can we experience the happiness that they are experiencing over there? No. So that's why sometimes there is um, sometimes no there is many a times things go really bad in this material world, right? Sometimes so-called love marriages also topple off, right? We sometimes some people are really excited this actor and actresses are marrying and this and that, but after a few years it comes in the news that we will divorce each other and then we'll be friends. Well, you have to be friends within marriage, not outside marriage. Anyway, so we have hardships in this world basically. So it's a reflection. We try to experience that love, experience that happiness. The moment we try to get it, it's like it goes away, right? Because it's a reflection. Just like in a reflection, one may see the fruit, but one may jump on it, and the fruit is no more. So the happiness in this world is called Shruti Sukha. Material happiness is defined as Shruti Sukha. What does Shruti Sukha means? The happiness which is only heard of. Shruti Sukha means we have just heard that yes, there is some happiness, there is some happiness. People say, right, once you get married, you'll be happy forever. Does it happen like that? No. So it's only heard of. People just say, okay, once you do 10th standard, then you'll be happy. Once you do 12th standard, then you'll be happy. Once you do engineering, medical, then you'll be happy. Is it like that? Okay, once you get 1 crore rupees, then you'll be happy. Once you get 10 crore rupees, you'll be happy. Huh?
That's correct. Yes, Prabhu.
So this happiness is only heard of. Shruti Sukha. Why people still go after it? Because there is some experience of happiness. There is not like ultimate happiness, but there is some experience. Some happiness is there. But that happiness is only for the time being. Just like if we may eat gulab jamun. Now gulab jamun touches our tongue, right? The moment it goes below our neck, are we still experiencing that gulab jamun? No, right?
No.
So that is the reality. That till the amount it is there, till or say let's say till the time it is there on the tongue, that much is the only happiness. That's it. So for that much happiness, we are running here and there. Okay. So Shruti Sukha is there. Lava Matra. Lava means it's just for a moment. Just like in a desert, one may get one drop of water and then feel happy. That is true. There is some happiness in one drop of water also, but then it is not satisfying. Okay, so another definition of this material happiness that it is not fully satisfying. So therefore, what is recommended is regulated life. Regulated life is recommended in this material world. Regulation means what? Control. So whatever we may do in our life, control. We have to control it. Our pursuits for happiness, our pursuits, ambitions, this and that, everything should be controlled. And Krishna is going to say this in the next few verses. One who's regulated in the habits of eating, sleeping, mating, differently. One more place he says, Yukta harasya, vyarasya. Yukta Sepana Chetasu. I think which chapter it says that? Yukta. Maybe it's the same verse. Just let me just confirm that. Yeah, it's the same verse. Yukta harasya viharasya yukta chetusu karmasu. So this is what is recommended in the material world. Okay. So yes, happiness is very small and this and that. It is there, but it's not like we should not try to get it. Okay. It's not like there is no happiness, so let's be sad always. It's not like that. What is Krishna saying is be regulated in your attempts. Okay, don't get carried away. In recreation also be regulated. In eating also be regulated. Okay, so go further. Therefore, a person working in Krishna consciousness is perfect yogi because his mind is always absorbed in Krishna's activities. Samai mana parar manaha Krishna padara vindyo. These are verses of Ambrish Maharaj. In the Vedas also, Shvetashara Upanishad it is said, one who overcomes the path of birth and that only by understanding the Supreme Person of Godhead. In other words, perfection of yoga system is attained of freedom from materialization and not some magical jugglery or gymnastic feats to be full innocent people. Okay. Natya. Natya Shasnas Shasnastas. Shasnastu. Okay. Natya Shasnastu Yogasti na chaikantam anasantah na chati swapna shilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. There is no possibility of becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much, too less, sleeps too much, does not sleep enough. This is a very interesting statement Arjuna Krishna is making, right? Don't eat too much. I mean, he said this 5,000 years ago, right? It is working today also. This instruction follows today also, right? All the obese people, if they hear this one, and workaholics, sleep too much, does not sleep enough. Oh, isn't Bhagavad Gita very practical? You can just open 6.16. This verse is 6.16. And you can just show. Don't eat too much, don't eat too less, don't sleep too much, don't sleep, does not sleep enough. Hmm? So, very practical, right? Bhagavad Gita. Regulation
Yeah.
of regulation of diet and sleep is recommended here for the yogis. See, this recommended for the yogis is including everyone. Okay, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, all of them. It's not like Bhakti Yoga means keep eating prasadam. No. At the start, it may be fine because we may be attracted to prasadam, definitely. But over a period of time, we should also control our eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Too much eating means eating more than required is to keep the body and soul together. There is no need for men to eat animals. So Prabhupada is saying definitely go for vegetarian food. But there is ample supply of grains, vegetables, fruits, and milk. Such simple foodstuff is considered to be the mode of goodness according to Bhagavad Gita. In the 14th chapter, we will read more about this mode of goodness and ignorance and passion. Animal food is for those who are in mode of ignorance. Therefore, those who indulge in animal food, drinking, smoking, and eating food which is not first offered to Krishna will suffer sinful reactions. Why? Because that food is made by killing the plants. So there will be some sin in it because we killed. So some sin will be transferred. But when we offer it to Krishna, all that sin takes away. Then it becomes, from bhoga, it becomes to prasad. Okay, it becomes like a blessed food. Anyone who eats for sense pleasure or cook for himself, not offering his food to Krishna, eats only sin. There's a verse for this. One who eats sin and eats more than is allotted to him. Let me just search for the verse. Let's see. Ah. Prasade Dukkhanam. There is a verse for this. Shit. Oh, should search here. Oh, damn. Come on. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, this verse. यज्ञ शिष्टान सिंतो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल विषय भुंजते अगम पापं ये पचन्ते आत्म कारण. The devotees of the Lord offer, this is in third chapter, 3.13. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sin because they eat food which is first offered for sacrifice. Others who prepared food for personal enjoyment verily eat only sin. There is one more verse, Prasade Sarva Dukkha. Let's see. Oh. This one. 65. 2.65. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rasopya jayate prasanna chetosu vasu buddhi pravishtete. One who thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one intelligence is soon well established. Prasade. So prasade has two meanings. Here is the causeless mercy of the Lord. And it also means the bhoga to prasad conversion. Okay. Therefore, only Krishna conscious person can attain perfection in yoga practice. Nor can one who artificially abstains from eating, manufacturing his own personal process of fasting, practice yoga. The Krishna conscious person observes fasting as it is recommended in the scriptures. So only in the scriptures what the fasting are mentioned, one should do that. One should not generate his own fasting and do hartals which are going on today. That is not recommended. He does not fast or eat more than required, and he is thus competent to perform yoga practice. One who eats more than required will dream very much while sleeping. You must have experience when stomach is full and you sleep, you may get a lot of dreams. And then once in dream, we forget the reality. We don't even get up. We find it difficult to get up. As therefore, more sleep is required. One should not sleep more than 6 hours daily. 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, not more than 8 hours. Today we are working like that, so we may require some 6, 7 or 8 hours. One who sleeps more than 6 hours out of 24 hours is certainly influenced by mode of ignorance. A person in mode of ignorance is lazy. Those who sleep more, right, we will see one thing in them. They will be very lazy and they will be always sleeping. If you make them sit or something on the bench only, they will start sleeping. So such a person cannot perform yoga. Our words today. Yukta harasya viharasya yukta chetasu karmasu yukta swapna bodhasya yoga bhavati dukkha. One who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, creation, recreation, work, and mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. See, we were talking about material pains, but actually, we were talking about material happiness. But material happiness is so small that the most of the time we'll get pain only. So, so how to mitigate that kind of pain? So we have to practice yoga system. And to practice yoga system, we have to be controlled in our four activities: eating, sleeping, recreation, work. If you go today to these modern speakers, right, they are talking about balance of work and work life balance and so many things. They will make this statement that you have to be regulated in your eating, in your sleeping, in your recreation, in your work also. Have you heard from them like this kind of statement? You have to balance all this.
No, no.
So they will also speak a similar thing only. Hmm? And Bhagavad Gita already told this 5,000 years ago. So even in the Vedic times, these things were pretty common. That people used to control their eating, sleeping. And that's why they used to live longer. What was the age of Pandavas when they were fighting in Mahabharata war? Do you know?
70s, no, Prabhuji.
90.
90. Okay.
Okay. It's not easy to understand all these things, but that is what it is. Extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, sanctified food. See, within sanctified food also, we should not take too much. Once a while is fine, but not too much. Okay, control that also. Lord Krishna is offered according to Bhagavad Gita 9.26. So Krishna says, what can be offered to me? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhakta prayachati tadaham bhakti uparatam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Patram means leaf. What kind of leaves are there that we offer to Krishna? Can you name some?
Flowers, tulsi leaf is there, and like the vegetables that we make, so like palak, you can say these are
Spinach,
leaves.
yeah, all kinds of leaves, methi and all that. Pushpam, flowers. What kind of flowers can we offer Krishna?
Anything that smell good,
Any
Prabhuji. Jasmine.
Yeah, the best is to
rose,
offer which has fragrance. But if that is not there, then even a normal flower can be offered. Okay, there is no restriction. Krishna has not said anything that is restricted. Okay, phalam. Phalam is definitely fruit. Best fruit which is sweet. Hmm? But then there are sour fruits
mm,
also. That can also be offered. Toyam. Toyam is water. We can offer water also to Krishna. So no one can escape from this statement. I cannot offer anything to Krishna. Why? Because he can offer water also. Yome bhakta prayachati. So offer it with bhakti, that is devotion, that is love for Krishna. Then Krishna will accept it. See, in a hotel, right? If the server throws the food at us, will we eat it? No. But he offers it with some, respect. Will we eat it? Yes. He offered it with some respect, Slowly he came, kept the plate and all that. Hmm? So we are looking for respect even in our serving also, right? Now let's say we are full and we reach to some friend's place. Now friend said, you have to eat this. Will we eat it or not? We already had lunch. Will we eat at a friend's place again?
Maybe a little bit to
Maybe a little bit. Why?
like to make
We
him
eat
happy. Then
little bit
we
to satisfy
yeah
them.
To
yeah
satisfy
Little bit.
why that person is so important? To satisfy that person only. Because he has love for us, because he has affection for us.
Because they offered us food with love.
Yeah, because they love us, right? So therefore we may go beyond. So similarly, Krishna is going to offer accept only when there is love, right? There is devotion. When it is not there, he may not accept it. He said, you don't like me and then you are giving me food. How can that happen? Right? So like that. Okay. So where are we? So in this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption or not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, Krishna consciousness is always alert in the discharge of his duty in Krishna consciousness. And a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duty in Krishna consciousness, and therefore unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. Avyartha kalatvam. A Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of the Lord. Okay, so for a pure devotee, right, even sleep is also disturbance actually. For us, we have to sleep our 6 hours, 7 hours. But for a pure devotee, right, they are going to sleep. They are thinking, "Oh, I'm wasting time. I should be using in Krishna's service," like that. Therefore, that is called avyartha kalavatu. Avyartha means avyartha uh, is to waste. Kalatvam is kalatvam. It's kala. Even one moment, waste one moment. They'll think like that. So even sleeping for them is a waste. For us, it is a necessary. But in a pure devotee case, even they will they will think sleeping is a problem. His idol in this respect is Rupa Goswami, who always engaged in the service of the Lord and could not sleep more than 2 hours. So they used to sleep 2 hours only, six Goswamis, and sometimes not even that. Haridas Thakur would not even accept prasadam or not even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads 300,000 names. That takes about 20 plus hours. So already there is 24 hours. In that 20 plus hours, he's chanting only. But without finishing that, he could not even sleep or eat prasada. As far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest. And thus his work is always regulated and is untainted by sense gratification. So the work, one will try to connect it with Krishna. Okay? That's what a devotee will try to do. Since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Krishna consciousness. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all other bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. Okay, probably finish this. Yada viniyatam chittam atmani eva vastite nispraha sarva kamebhyo yukta iti uchyate tada. When a yogi, by the practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities, so they are disciplining his mental activities. We discussed this. Mind is the important thing. In army, when they go for commando training, right, they make them go through very difficult tasks. No sleep, 30-40 kilometers of walking with 10-15 kgs or maybe 30 kgs of load. If we see those interviews, right, we will hear one thing, that it is only a mental game. If mentally you are strong, you can take this. So a yogi person also disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires. He is said to be well established in yoga. The activities of yogi are distinguished from those of an ordinary person by his characteristic cessation of all kinds of material desires, of which sex is the chief. A perfect yogi is so disciplined in activities of the mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desire. Like Prahlad Maharaj, no material desire was disturbing him. This perfection stage can automatically attained by a person in Krishna consciousness. 9.4.18.20. So again, this verses of Amrish Maharaj comes. Savai Mana Padara Krishna Vandar. So what he said, the King Amrish first of all engaged his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, and then one after another he engaged his words in describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord, his hands in mopping the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the activities of the Lord. So every senses he is using. His eyes in seeing the transcendental form of the Lord, his body in touching the bodies of the devotee, his sense of smell in smelling the scent of the lotus flowers offered to the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulsi leaf offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, his legs in going to the pilgrimage and temple of the Lord, his head in offering obeisances of the Lord. So all these things, if we do right, then we won't have time to do sense gratification. 100% Krishna consciousness. And his desires in executing the mission of the Lord, all these transcendental activities are quite befitting a pure devotee. This transcendental stage may be inexpressibly subjectively by the followers of the impersonal path, but it becomes very easy and practical, not impractical, practical for a person in Krishna consciousness, as is apparent from the above description of engagements of Maharaj Amrish. Unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagement are not practical. In devotional service of the Lord, therefore, the prescribed activities of Archana. So, Archana, Archana? That is to offer all our senses in the service of the Lord. DT Archana. DT service. Okay. The senses and the mind require engagement. So that's why we do Arti of the Lord. Simple abnegation is not practical. We cannot give it up. We have to practice. Therefore, people in general, especially those who are not in renounce of the Lord, transcendental engagement of the senses and the mind are described above in the perfect process of transcendental achievement. It is called Yukta in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, this verse we will do and then we'll stop. Yatha dipo nivati stho nengata sopama sprinta sopama smrita yogino yata chittasya yunjate yogam atmanaha. A lamp in a windless place does not waver. So the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled always remains steady in his meditation on the transcendental self. So in a windless place, the lamp doesn't waver, right? The transcendental mind is controlled, always steady, like that. But do we stay in a windless place? No, right?
No.
Always there is disturbance.
No, Prabhuji.
So have you heard about this? The eye of the storm. Let me just put it this way again. Have you heard about this? Eye of the storm. See, this is the eye. It is calm in that eye. Everywhere else the disturbance is there. But within the eye, nothing happens. So for a lamp in a windless place, definitely it cannot waver. But a transcendentalist, a spiritualist, things will be around him very, very difficult. But he'll be situated in the eye of the storm. Where it will be calm. So that happens by practice of yoga. A truly Krishna conscious person, always observed in transcendence, in constant undisturbed meditation on his worship of the Lord, is as steady as a lamp in a windless place. We have the example of Prahlad Maharaj, completely undisturbed. Okay, we'll stop here. Any questions? Any comments?
Yes, Prabhu, I have two questions. One is like these are small. Somewhere in today's call you mentioned causeless mercy. What is the meaning of causeless here, Prabhu?
Okay. So causeless means without cause. In simple words, without cause means like a beggar. He may beg for few rupees, but if he gets like say 10,000 rupees, that's a causeless mercy. He was not supposed to get, but he got it like that.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it is like you should be getting a little one, but you are getting a huge
Yeah.
one, like that.
And this term is used in perspective of bhakti. So this is a discussion in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Madhurya Kadambani, where bhakti is actually causeless. So how does one get bhakti? That is discussed. So is there a cause for bhakti? Does Krishna give bhakti? No. If he gives bhakti, then he becomes what? Partial. We can accuse him. You are giving bhakti to him, not to him, but to him. So how can bhakti be causeless? So Krishna doesn't give bhakti. Then does one's pious activity, by his pious activity, so much punya, does he get bhakti? No, because bhakti is independent. So how can it be dependent on any pious thing? So the only way the bhakti comes is through a bhakta. The bhakta, under the influence of his own bhakti and the bhakti and the goddess bhakti, he gives the chance to serve Krishna, hear about Krishna to the other person, whether the other person is ready or not. Okay. So when the
Mm,
other person is ready or not, whether he is qualified or not, but still this the bhakta is giving him bhakti, therefore it is called causeless.
mm,
Okay. So
mm,
it can happen with two inspirations. One is that the bhakta, he thinks that even if he doesn't deserve, I want to still give him. And second is by that person has served this bhakta somehow or the other by simple service he must have done. Then this bhakta feels gratitude for him, and in gratitude he gives this bhakti to him. So
mm,
like that. So that's how it's called causeless. Causeless means it doesn't come from Krishna.
mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
And
there are
other question.
yeah.
Yes. The other question was related to you mentioned somewhere like in related to Buddha. So,
Ha.
uh, uh, so I don't have much understanding about it, but I'm just curious to know like what relation do we have with like Buddha and Krishna? Do we have any relation between them, or we do not have? Like
Yeah.
there are a couple
So
others, like there are Sai Baba as well. Right?
okay.
There
Okay. See,
that.
Sai Baba and
Hmm,
all that is very different. Okay. Why?
hmm,
Because yeah. So Buddha, according to the Vedas, is one of the incarnations of Krishna or Vishnu.
hmm,
Okay, so that's the connection we have with Buddha.
hmm,
And but the philosophy that he taught, that is incomplete, and that can lead to atheism. So therefore, we don't accept it. Now that's a very interesting point. It is Krishna who came as Buddha, but he came for a certain purpose. I'll tell you.
exactly.
So, Balaram Buddha's ninth. निन्दसि यज्ञविधेरः श्रुतिजातं सदा हृदयदर्शितपशुघातं केशवधृता बुधशरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे Jai Jagadish Hare. So Keshava Dhrita Buddha Sharira. So he became Buddha. Why? What was the reason? He was compassionate.
Because
Why?
at the
Because there was
yes, Prabhu.
unregulated slaughtering of poor animals. So in the start of Kali Yuga, what happened is the Vedas, they have sacrifices. In that sacrifice, animals are killed. Okay, but it is killed for a test whether the sacrifice is successful or not. And do you know what is the test? Why the animals are killed? Because the animal immediately gets a new body. If the animal doesn't get a new body in front of everyone, then it is a failure. But in Kali Yuga, to do such a sacrifice, it is not possible because the Brahmanas, they have lost their power. So they continue doing these sacrifices and they fooled people. So Krishna became compassionate. He said, you're misutilizing the Vedas. So he came, and to protect the poor animals, he brought the philosophy of Shunyavad, zero, voidness. Ahimsa. He brought this philosophy by which he could defeat and stop the animal sacrifice, which was happening rampantly. Okay, so this is the purpose of Buddhism. It's actually vegetarianism. This is the main thing. So if we don't find vegetarianism in Buddhism, right, then it is not Buddhism. And this is happening actually. Now to bring back the Vedas, Lord Shiva came as Shankaracharya and he said, we are not zero, we are one. Why? Vedas say that Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, you are that one. But again, this philosophy is incomplete. At least better than zero, right? Someone will like, okay, I am that one. He likes it. I'm not zero. But one means, then are you God? No. So then Madhvacharya came and he said, we are not one, but we are two. How come we can be one and two at the same time? Right? Because Vedas say Tattvamasi, you are one. Madhvacharya say you are two. Jiva Jivasya Jivanam. Just like husband wife is said to be you are one, but at the same time they are two. Similarly, in a team there may be two people, four people, but it is called what? One team. Are they one? No, they are still four. So we are in quality, in purpose, one with the Supreme, but in quantity we are not same. This is called Achinta Bheda Ved Tattva. This was brought by Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago. That we are one in quality but not in quantity. Okay, just like a drop of ocean has similarities with the whole ocean, only in qualities. We can come to know, okay, it has this potassium, aluminum, this, that. But what about the quantity? It cannot be compared. Why? Drop of ocean does not have even the quantity to be compared with what is there in the ocean. But it is similar. Getting? So this is the connection and philosophy to understand. we will revisit this.
But
Yeah.
I'm just feeling here like I'm not if Buddha would have presented this thing a little in different way, maybe this all those confusion would never happen.
No, the
Do you?
confusion was created to stop that killing. Okay. And then he could take away people, he could stop that whole thing. So it was done for a short time. Okay, it was not meant to be permanent, and such
Yeah, because,
confusions are created. The reason is you need to filter bad people, you need to filter people. So you create a confusion and people like that confusion, they go away. See, vedas
okay.
vedas have stood the test of Buddhism also. When Shankaracharya was there, he was already a Vedic scholar, but Buddhism was spreading. So he defeated. He defeated to such extent that Buddhism spread to China, Japan, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Southeast and even in Afghanistan, right?
Hmm.
But in India, he established the Vedas. So in India, if we see, na, Buddhism is not so much.
Hmm. Yeah.
So the reason why Krishna does this is not that he wants to confuse everybody. See, those people who are very attracted to controversies, right?
Hmm.
You can give them any controversy, right? And they just go away with that. So to filter out these kind of people, Krishna comes, he gives some, and it is not just in Buddhism. He has done this before also. If there are some issues, he will come as a Rishi Muni, teach something which is lower, take out the people who are not interested in bhakti and tell them, okay, practice this. Don't disturb the bhakti people.
But these things are still existing, bro. Like these people
They
are
are,
still there, like
yes,
people.
yes,
But
yes.
right now we are not spreading Buddhism to them. We are actually spreading the real message of the Lord
Yeah.
Krishna, right?
See, even in that also we will find some opposition, right?
Hmm.
We'll find some. It's not like everybody is taking, right? There's like some opposition we will see. So for them, at least they can follow something what they like. Like there are some who follow Shankaracharya, there are some who follow Buddhism. Okay, fine. Better than atheism.
Hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Something they are
Yeah.
following, right? Within the Vedic system, like that. Some authority they are following.
Hmm.
Rather than zero following, then at least this much. You can appreciate that. But the point is that it's a diversion. So it's a diversion created. See, in war,
Hmm.
right? They create a diversion. You may think,
Hmm.
why? We can go and fight like that only, na? No, a diversion helps. It can divide that whole army, and then you can get a in way, right? And you can then separate out, and that army suddenly becomes half. If there are 100 people,
Hmm.
and if you create a diversion and 50 go here, 50 go there, you have to just fight 50 people, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So you can see this is a strategy for diversion.
Hmm. And like follow-up question to them, like
Hmm.
uh, uh, in Kali Yuga, there are certain incarnations which already been mentioned in Bhagavatam, like Kalki will be the next Krishna's
Yeah, yeah.
incarnation.
That's pretty far,
Yeah,
4 lakh 32
but
years.
yeah, so like and when the Lord Buddha he suddenly came because he has seen so much annihilation of the animals. So is it possible now also like in future also like the reincarnation of the Lord? Maybe not the Kalki because the situation is really going bad, right? So Krishna must be looking from from above that what is going
See,
on earth.
okay. See, when the Lord comes right into this world to establish religion,
Hmm.
he can come himself, or he can send his agents, or he can send his devatas.
Hmm.
Agents means the guru,
Yes.
prophet, or spiritual master, devotee. Like we see other religions, right? Muhammad and Jesus, right?
Yes.
And then in the Vedas, we have heard about it. Durga, she comes, she kills so many. Shiva also comes, kills so many. Kartikeya, he also comes, he kills so many demons, right?
Hmm.
So, so they can act these devatas. They can act to Adi Daivika power. What is that means is demigod power. It is the power of the heavens, where one can influence and create floods and famines and earthquakes and volcanoes like that.
Okay.
Like our corona also.
Hmm.
So right now the disturbances are so much that these things will affect. That's why we see every year we are facing these issues.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So it is the effect of
yeah,
devtas.
yeah. So see, this thing will happen, right? You see, if there are impious activities, now devtas will keep acting.
Hmm.
But at the end of Kali Yuga, na, it is becoming so bad. that whether the devatas act or not, nothing is happening. So then the Lord himself will come, because he has to start the Satyuga. Then he will kill, and by his touch, they will become pure devotees and they will continue into Satyuga.
Mm.
Like that. So,
Understood.
so yeah, these are things which are not known to us. Okay, the Vedas will reveal. Okay, Vedas will reveal. Sometimes the sadhus will also reveal.
Yeah. Okay. Understood.
Any other question?
No, no, that is all for me.
Any other question? Anyone has question, comment?
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
you were saying कि Lord does not give bhakti. But in the 6th chapter itself, Lord says, no, Prabhuji, that if we like, we usually continue the bhakti in the next birth also from where we have left in this
See, he will give
life.
us opportunity. Why? Because we have tried, no?
So then who gives us that
But
continuity, Prabhuji?
see, he will give dharmic opportunity. You need to understand that when
Then
he
who gives
says
us that continuity, Prabhuji?
continuity means what?
I mean, like, if whatever, suppose we have done 20% in this birth and we get
See,
another
what we are talking is
opportunity to
two
get
things.
to
Okay,
continue from.
what we are talking is two things. One thing is we are talking about a yogi. A yogi need not have done bhakti, but he has done some yogic principles, practices. If there is something incomplete in it, then Krishna says what you're telling. Here he gives them opportunities. Here, unsuccessful yogi is born in a family of rich people or
Yes,
righteous people. Yeah, so
yes,
he's
that only,
given a
Prabhuji.
opportunity to continue there. Okay,
Hmm.
but this is not bhakti.
Acha, that is
That is a
matlab
yoga.
the
Yeah,
yogi
yeah.
here. Acha, yogi here doesn't mean bhakti yogi.
Yes, that is true. But at the same time, if a bhakti yogi is also unsuccessful, then he takes birth in the family of transcendentals who are sure to great in wisdom. In devotee family, he will take birth. Okay.
Okay,
So
Prabhuji.
a bhakti yogi, if he is also incomplete, then he will get a devotee family or devotee association next life. That is also there. But if a yoga, karma yogi and a dhyana yogi, a jnana yogi, they are also having some benefit. Next life they'll get into righteous people. Meaning these will be very, very pious people. Okay. So he'll get some opportunity over there. But bhakti he will get, no, bhakti won't. Because bhakti has to be given by a bhakta. So he may be given an association of a devotee, but again he has to take that bhakti, right? Either the bhakta forces on him, that very rarely happens actually, or the person accepts it. Okay. Um, does that help, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So this is about yogi. There is nothing like unsuccessful bhakti yogi. See, the yogis, na, karma yogi, the jnana yogi, the dhyana yogi, they can be unsuccessful. But a bhakti yogi, na, is an incomplete bhakti yogi. It's never success is never attributed to a bhakti yogi. Do you know why? Why?
Because I mean, even very small, I mean, very little bhakti also
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is also true.
is
But that applies
very
to
little bhakti
even
is also
karma yoga, jnana yoga,
useful.
dhyana yoga also. Like if they do little bit also, it will help them. But still, this concept of success cannot be applied to bhakti yogi. Success and failure. Incompleteness is what can be applied. The reason is a bhakti yogi is already doing what is to be achieved in the final stage. A pure devotee is always chanting Hare Krishna, the holy name of the God of Krishna, And the Bhakti Yogi is also chanting the holy name of Krishna. So technically what is remaining is only the completeness is remaining. Success is already there. But in case of Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, right, they are not even chanting. They are just practicing all that, looking at the tip of the nose and chanting Om, and Karma Yogi is doing Lok Sangraha and detached work. Gyan Yogi is after this knowledge, that knowledge. But have they started bhakti? No. So for them, this success and failure is used. But for a bhakti yogi, this term success and failure is not applied. Incompleteness is applied. Yes, they can be incomplete. I will show you. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Narad Muni says this. Conversation Narada and this. Yes. So what happens is Lord Narad Muni, he's telling how did he become a devotee. So he got association of pure devotees when he was a son of a maid servant. And that maid servant served in that he also served the pure devotees. And they taught him the process of Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Karma Yoga and all that. And he, when his mother died and they left, he traveled everywhere and then he practiced this Dhyana Yoga in where he saw the Supreme Lord. So he saw the Supreme Lord. As soon as I began to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, without delay, the personality of Goddess Sri Krishna appeared in the lotus of my heart. So Sri Krishna appeared in the lotus of his heart. So he was able to see. But what happened is, he vanished. Upon losing that form, suddenly. So he vanished. And then he again tried to see, but it didn't come. Then the Lord spoke to him. He spoke, "Oh Narada, I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service." See, the word successful, unsuccessful is not used. Incomplete in service and who are not completely free from all material taints can hardly see. Whereas, the Dhyana yogis, the Karma yogis, they can be really unsuccessful. You're getting, Mataji? Avipakwa. Avipakwa is used. Immature. And let's see what word is used in this unsuccessful yogi. See, avipakwa. Pakwa means what? Ripe.
Ripe. Paripakwa and aripakwa.
So if ripe and unripe is used, does it mean the fruit is lost? Does it mean the fruit is now, the fruit is no more ripe, so let us cut it and throw it away? Is it like that?
No.
So that's why we cannot use successful. It's just matter of time. But what happens with unsuccessful, right? Yoga brishta, fallen, brashta. The word brashta. Have you heard this word brashta?
Yes, Prabhuji.
It's a very
Dharma
strong word,
bhrashta,
na?
they say,
It's
no?
a very strong word,
They say
brashta. Now
somewhere, some places it will be mentioned, dharma bhrashta.
So you can understand that unsuccessful word is used, and compared to a devotee, incomplete, paripakwa. Paripakwa. What is that? Avipakwa is used.
Avipakwa.
So for a devotee, avipakwa is used. But for karma yogi, dhyana yogi, jnana yogi, who are not reached the devotional platform, okay, for them, bhrashta is used. Very strong word, bhrashta. So that is the problem with those yoga system, that success is only after many years, okay. But bhakti yogi, the success is even for the first day itself. The moment he says Krishna, that is success. So it's only matter of ripe and unripe in bhakti yogi, okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. And so if somebody is unripe, right, a bhakti yogi is unripe, he may also get this kind of places: family of righteousness, richness, devotee family, you know, he may also get this all. So these things can apply to bhakti yogi also. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So actually, this verse 6.42 is applied to a bhakti yogi, where he takes birth in a family of acharyas or goswamis. That is pure devotees, you know. Like Bhakti Siddhant Maharaj is one example Prabhupada is giving. Okay. Okay. So we'll stop here. We went a little overboard. Any last question?
No, Prabhuji. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Thank